Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Excellencies, Ambassadors of friendly nations, the Minister of Communication and Information Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Rudi Antara, Assistant Director General of UNESCO for Communication and Information, Mr. Frank Laru, Director of Freedom of Expression and Media Development of UNESCO, Mr. Guy Berger, Director of UNESCO Jakarta Office and also representative of UNESCO Jakarta Office, Mr. Shahbaz Khan, Professor Dr. Arif Rahman MPD from the Indonesian National Commission for UNESCO, Chairman of the Indonesian Press Council, Mr. Yosep Adi Prasetyo, distinguished journalists, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be showered upon us all. After 2 days of deliberation, we are now nearing the end of the World Press Freedom Day 2017, staged here in the beautiful capital city of Indonesia, Jakarta, which draws the theme, Critical Minds for Critical Times, Media's Role in Advancing Peaceful, Just, and Inclusive Societies. As a closing dance, the Cendrawasih dance of the Island of Paradise, Bali, will be performed. Cendrawasih is a beautiful bird that has lovely brown and yellow feathers. The dance has the meaning that we have to preserve and protect the scarce fauna in order not to be extinct. A dance that describes the cheerful and lively bird in its natural surrounding. Performed by the dancers of the Indonesian Local Television Association, ATVLI, here is the Cendrawasih dance. A round of applause for the Chandrawasi dance. Ladies and gentlemen, at the World Press Freedom Day 2017, we are also joined by around 60 university students coming from Indonesia and also from other parts of the world who joins the Youth Newsroom. Can we have all the Youth Newsroom participants to stand up, please? The university students, please stand up. A round of applause for the youth. Please be seated. They have learned from the experts about the process of news making. May I kindly invite for the symbolic presentation of the certificate of attendance from the chairman of the Indonesian Press Council, Mr. Yosef Adi Prasetyo, to one of the representatives of Youth Newsroom, Narendra Hutomo. Please kindly come up on stage. These are examples of youth who will be able to deliver news in a more bold, precise, and of course, based on facts. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Please kindly return to your seats. Our next program, ladies and gentlemen, is the adoption of the Jakarta Declaration of World Press Freedom Day 2017. May I kindly invite Director for Freedom of Expression and Media Development of UNESCO, Mr. Guy Berger.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, you have before you photocopies of the Jakarta Declaration. Let me tell you a bit about the history of this. Every World Press Freedom Day, we develop a declaration. Last year, we had the Finlandia Declaration. This year, we knew we were coming to Indonesia. We knew there are lots of interesting new things happening in the world, and there's lots of interesting things in Indonesia. How can we make a declaration that reflects all these? So, we, the Secretariat, we looked at the program and we said, these are probably the kinds of points that will come at the conference, and we made a draft. And then we created a committee of really eminent media people, and we asked them to help us work on this. Those people who joined that committee, many people know them, Bang Harimuti, Gwen Lister, Toby Mendel, Jonathan Bock, Constance Bomela, and Rana Sabah. These are really high-profile, wise people from different regions in the world. So all of us together, we made a draft declaration, and then we put it on the internet, and we emailed, and we asked for comments. Well, a number of you did send comments. So many comments, it took a lot of time for the committee to sit down yesterday and go through all these comments. And many of them were integrated into another version of the declaration, and that is the version you have here. Now, you still have a small chance if you want to tweak this declaration. If you think there's one point that was not covered here, you can still send us a comment. If you look at the back of this document, it will give you the email address. By midday tomorrow, you can send any further comments, and the committee will again look at those comments. So what we're going to do now is we're not going to start discussing this declaration point by point. We're not going to try and get everybody to edit and debate each word, each clause. No, we'll put our confidence in the drafting committee to finalize this tomorrow. But in the meantime, what I want to call on you now is to adopt this, not as a binding declaration, but really as a summary record of the key points that came out of our conference. Given that there may still be some small changes, but I think it's good enough for us to say this document really represents what we said here in Jakarta, what we learnt, and what we want to take away with us. So I would like to call you, please, with a show of hands to say, can we adopt this, given that there's still some tweaks maybe that will come? Do we adopt this? Thank you. Well, that's the Jakarta Declaration. And I think this will become a really valuable record of what was achieved here in Indonesia. And I just want to say a little thanks, although this is not really my job, because Frank LaRue will really say it on behalf of UNESCO, but I wanted to mention some people who I know have been very, very special for this whole occasion. Prof. Rahman of the National Commission. I've worked with this man several years. Without him, I know things are a lot slower. He is a powerhouse of energy. Thank you, Prof. Rahman. Mr. Minister, thank you really for your support. You have a fantastic team here, and really they've done us very proud. I'm sure everybody wants to come back to Indonesia as a result of this. Mr. Shahbaz Khan, Director and Representative of UNESCO, thank you. Your team, headed by Ming, supported by people like Shahrazad, top caliber people, really. You are lucky. And then the last thing I want to say is my colleagues from Paris, Sylvie Coudray, Sala McCabe, Gerwin Duroy, Mehdi Benchala, Faxon Banda, and all those who are back in Paris who also helped us prepare. They're not here to enjoy and actually experience what we have had, but I really thank them. So, all of you, all the partners, all your participants, here's the Jakarta Declaration. Read it, send us comments if you have any. It will be finalized soon, but in the meantime, it stands as our provisional record of what we have achieved here. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to have a reflection from 2016 World Press Freedom Day host, and we would like to kindly invite Sabrina Holmström, Finnish National Commission to UNESCO, to reflect on the 2016 World Press Freedom Day.
Minister of Communication and Information Technologies, Excellencies, Mr. ADG LaRue, friends and colleagues. It's on behalf of the previous host, Finland, that I'm so glad and very privileged to be in Jakarta. In Helsinki last year, emphasis was on access to information. In Helsinki, we celebrated the 250th anniversary of the world's first ever Press Freedom Act. It was adopted by the then Finland and Sweden way back in 1766. Access to information was also in focus in the Finlandia Declaration, and for many, many reasons I'm very happy now to see that the declaration, the Finlandia Declaration, is now very well bridged into the Jakarta Declaration. There are several building blocks to build further on. I'd say access to information, diversity of cultural expressions, and freedom of expression are building blocks for functioning democracies and diverse independent media. As we see also from the Jakarta Declaration, and as was preluded in the Finlandia Declaration, we see the importance also for the Agenda 2030 on Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Goal 16 on access to information. Let us use the declarations. Let us reread the Finlandia Declaration, and let us use now the adopted Jakarta Declaration. We need critical minds for critical times ahead. Stand up for your rights. There can be no compromise on freedom of expression. Dear friends, it's a great and rewarding experience to host the World Press Freedom Day. In looking forward to the next in 2018, I wish to extend our warmest and heartfelt thanks to the UNESCO Secretariat, but not least to our Indonesian hosts, for wonderful, excellent arrangements and the most warm hospitality with shows and everything. So thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, following is closing remarks by Assistant Director General for Communication and Information of UNESCO. Please welcome His Excellency Mr. Frank Larue.
Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Minister of Communication and Technology, other members of his staff, friends of the UNESCO Commission of Indonesia, Mr. Chavez, our office director in Jakarta, and all colleagues from UNESCO, everyone, participants, and especially the young journalists participating today. In this conference, we have, I think, exceeded by far our expectations. When we thought about Jakarta in Indonesia, we knew it was going to be a wonderful event, as we had had in Helsinki in Finland, which was an excellent and fascinating event. But Jakarta added for us a special attraction, which was the possibility of projecting the message to the whole region. We were thinking in Indonesia, yes, but we were thinking in the whole southeast region of the world. And we were hoping that this would enhance the work that all our colleagues in the different offices in this region have been doing, and the communication that we're trying to maintain. Oftentimes we feel that Paris is very far away and that we have to increase our communication and our presence in Southeast Asia. And this was the big opportunity. So today, the fact that we had so many participants, the fact that we had more than 95 countries present, and the fact that we had this wonderful youth participation, especially from Indonesia, has made this event tremendously successful. But I think as well that we must impress on the content that we have been able to build here. So we're very pleased to see the level of participation, and we're very pleased to see the impact that we have already seen in the region. But we would also emphasize that we're doing this in very difficult times. In all the panels I personally participated, or in all the events, it was very clear for us that we have grown in activity and intensity, that we have tried to strengthen the UN Plan of Action for Safety of Journalists, that we're doing our biggest efforts for strengthening freedom of the press and privacy and all the elements that journalism needs to practice freely the profession. There has been, we have mentioned several times, 8 resolutions in United Nations bodies, including 2 in the Security Council, others in General Assembly, others in Geneva, and others in Paris at UNESCO. But still today, we see the tragedy of the increase of violence around the world, and the increase in the draft legislations that are being presented in Parliament, that because of the preoccupation on national security or combating terrorism or combating organized crime in other regions, are threatening to limit the possibilities of a truly free press. Just yesterday, we heard Mr. Oscar Cantú from the newspaper El Norte of Ciudad Juárez talking about the symbolism of the act that he was brave enough to do of closing his newspaper after the assassination of Miroslava, one of his journalist colleagues, because that was the only way to protest and to stop the killings and to guarantee safety for his colleagues in the newspaper. This is the reality of many parts of the world today. In many panels, we repeated that impunity is still paramount, that the investigations are still very slow or non-existent. So what this event of today has actually motivated us is to renew our energy. We said at the beginning that every May 3rd is the remembrance of the Windhoek Declaration, which was a fantastic initiation of this tradition from a favor that the African continent gave to all of us, but at the same time is to renew the energies to the future, to be able to struggle to improve the conditions, because a free press is not only something that concerns journalists. The free press is something that serves society as a whole, that serves everyone, that it strengthens democracy because it guarantees informed decisions by those that participate in democracy. And now, with the 2030 agenda, we have re-emphasized that a free press, a free media, is the way to reach public access to information, which is a paramount element of development. So if we have those conclusions and we're very clear, this is when we really have to renew our effort for generating those mechanisms that will allow us guarantee safety. We're trying to establish a mechanism of safety in every country of the world as a consequence of global Sustainable Development Goal 16. We would also like to see in the ASEAN region, by the way, we have made this suggestion and today I make it very publicly, we would like to see a mechanism coming out of the ASEAN Human Rights Commission for safety of journalists or a rapporteur for freedom of expression and freedom of the press. These would be very important steps to be taken in the future, and it would be very significant steps that all the world would congratulate and would applaud. So these are the challenges we come out with. I think that we can end this event not with a sense of fear, not with a sense of anxiety, but more with a sense of strength and optimism by the amount of people that were here and the amount of people that have shared ideas and have shared their efforts in different parts of the world and specifically in this region. So we come out with this event with a feeling of success and hopefully the feeling of strengthening the evaluation we will have of the UN Plan of Action in June. And for this strength and this success, as Guy Berger was saying before, we would really like to thank the government of Indonesia and the Minister of Communication in particular for the hospitality and the support. This has been an incredible event, in big part for the efforts done by the working teams here in Indonesia, beginning with the professor in the National Human Rights Commission, which I would ask them to give him a clap, please. I think this has also been the teamwork. So I think our office in Jakarta and the support of the office, regional offices around here and in Bangkok have done a tremendous effort. Mr. Chavez, our colleague Ming, Sheresade, and all the others that are members of this office have done a tremendous effort. And to all of you, thank you very much. Also, we would like to congratulate your work. There are many other unspoken heroes in this event. For instance, the fact that many people have come from a big distance to participate in the different events. I would like to thank Bethlehem Isaac, the daughter of David Isaacs, the laureate of this year, for having been here with us. Bethlehem, you're carrying with you a symbol of the struggle of your father, which, as you mentioned, that for you, having been a teacher, having been a professor, a man that returned to Eritrea to work for a true and independent and democratic country was an inspiration for you. Let me tell you that he is an inspiration for all of us, and we will maintain the struggle until his release or until we are accepted to visit him wherever he may be in Eritrea. And this is an important commitment that we should make for the future. I also think that we thank the members of the jury of the Guillermo Cano Award. Being a jury is not easy. Making these decisions is difficult. Coming from far distances and leaving other commitments is complicated. I know the effort that this has been for them throughout several of their nominations of awardees for the Guillermo Cano Award. So we thank you as well for that effort and that constant support, as well as the Guillermo Cano Foundation and the Guillermo Cano family for all the support to this event. Let me also say that it is very important for us not to forget everyone that was active in this in different ways. And especially today we have the young people that have been participating here. I think this is a sense of enthusiasm and optimism for all of us in the future. We really are encouraged to see that whatever we discuss about journalism and how difficult it may be, it is a wonderful and fascinating profession that still incites enthusiasm in young people and drives them to a service of informing society. And this is important. And we should begin by understanding that with all the problems we still confront, and with the fact that there is a big debate going on today of how free should the press be, or how much access to information we should have, or how much privacy there should be, or how many limitations that there should exist on the basis of national security, or combating organized crime, or on any other position. We believe that freedom of expression is something that will never be stopped, because it is a profound and internal desire and expectation of every human being to be informed, to build your mind, and to be able to speak out your ideas and your principles and values. And this is why it will never be stopped by anyone, never in the history of the world. And this is why the true solution for any possibility of curtailing this freedom, the true solution for any fake news or any confusion there may be in this information, is to build critical minds in the new generations. And this is why we feel that this event has been a success, because we made a small contribution to building critical minds for these critical times. Thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, closing remarks by the Minister of Communication and Information Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, followed by the symbolic handing over of the Garuda bird statue, the emblem of Indonesia, to UNESCO to deliberate the next World Press Freedom Day 2018. May I kindly invite His Excellency, Mr. Rudi Antara.
Excellencies, Mr. Leroux, the ADG of UNESCO, Pak Shaban Kaj, Director and Representative UNESCO in Jakarta office, Chairman of Indonesia Press Council, Pak Adi Prasetyo, Prof. Arif Rahman. In fact, he is my teacher in English 30 years ago. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today is the last days of our 2017 World Press Freedom Day celebrations. On behalf of the government of Indonesia, and the press councils, we would like to thank you all for coming to Jakarta and participating in this event. Although I see that not all participants who were here during the opening sessions, probably they are now in the department stores, market, or something like that. Thank you for improving the economy of Indonesia. These celebrations hold a special meaning for Indonesia, considering the democratization process that has begun since 1998. Through a series of heavy political and economic disturbances, regional armed violence, natural disasters, and interracial and interreligious tensions, Indonesia has firmly embarked on path to become a democratic nation. We have experienced first-handly that press freedom plays a crucial role in the development of the nations. In the last 17 years, Indonesia has gained many positive things from the press freedom, in particular on how press can deliver criticisms and provide rooms for various opinions that can be useful for both the government and the people. Those are the reasons of why we were very enthusiastic to host 2017 World Press Freedom Day. We are eager to share and learn from you about our own experience in cultivating press freedom and to solve plethora of challenges for press and its responsibility in developing the nations. The Guillermo Cano Award, an annual tradition of the World Press Freedom Day, will continue to remind us of the need for a free press, one that is without fear to report information that is truthful and meaningful for the people. We have engaged into several discussions on how significant and contemporary themes, from how information technology changed the media industry landscape to how can we close the literacy gap in this digital world. In the other hand, we also share the same concerns that information technology also carries its dark side. It can be used to spread the hate speech and the fake news, resulting into chaotic in our society. In this 2017 World Press Freedom Day, we are able to focus in addressing the issues of SDGs, particularly in achieving SDGs number 16, promoting peaceful and inclusive society, as well as on how we are going to counter social media bubbles, where solutions to address both are reflected in our today quote-unquote adopted Jakarta declarations. We are also aware that we need to bring back the healthy public communications and to support the quality journalism in order to shed light in the midst of turbulent information wave. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the face of those challenges, I am delighted to note that this year World Press Freedom Day has continued to nurture the future of journalism. Youth Newsrooms, which is managed by Universitas Multimedia Nusantara, is a showcase of how young people play an increasingly instrumental role in generating and disseminating news. The youth newsrooms, in my view, is not only successful to further the news about our event, but also to treasure the future of journalism as well as the future of democracy. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like now to thank UNESCO for cooperating with Indonesia to host this year's World Press Freedom Day. My gratitude also goes to the Indonesian Press Councils, to all institutions and the people that have involved in this event, all speakers and moderators, reporters, and all of you who have participated in this event. Thank you. Terima kasih. And to conclude my remarks, let me tell you something about last night entertainment following the opening ceremony. As you remember, last night we were given quote-unquote angklung, a traditional musical instrument made of bamboo. It is a courtesy of Mang Ujo, a world-renowned angklung maestro. Angklung is also on UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Other than to entertain us, that's including the dynamic Aceh dance, and angklung was meant to invite all of us to embrace the angklung music philosophy, that everyone plays a vital role in building a graceful and harmonic orchestra. I still remember last night when Mr. Laru played his angklung like this one and keep shaking the angklung. I hope that the angklung orchestra that we performed last night can evoke the same spirit in all of us to be together in creating a better world. With that, Excellencies and distinguished guests, I bid you farewell and see you in another time. I cannot say see you in some other country or in some other cities because it's not been decided yet. Again, have a safe travel back to your country. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Mr. Rudi Antara, please remain on stage. The symbolic handing over of the World Press Freedom Day from Indonesia to the Assistant Director General of UNESCO, Mr. Frank Laru, with the presentation of the Garuda bird statue to deliberate to the next host country of the World Press Freedom Day 2018. A round of applause. Thank you. Please kindly return to your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, last night we played the angklung. Today we will see another traditional instrument from Indonesia, the traditional beduk dol from Bengkulu. To mark the official closing of World Press Freedom Day 2017, here is the procession of the beduk dol from Bengkulu. the Beduk Doll from Bengkulu. The closing ceremony of World Press Freedom Day 2017, the striking of the Beduk Doll from Bengkulu by His Excellency the Minister of Communication and Information Technology, Mr. Rudi Antara. Please kindly come up on stage. His Excellency Mr. Frank Laru, Assistant Director General of UNESCO, Chairman of the Indonesian Press Council, Mr. Yosep Adi Prasetyo, Professor Arif Rahman, representative from the Ministry of Education and Culture, from the Indonesian Commission for UNESCO, and then the Director for Freedom and Expression and Media Development of UNESCO, Mr. Guy Berger, and we invite to accompany their excellencies, Director and Representative of UNESCO for Jakarta Office, Mr. Shahbaz Khan, and all the members of the Indonesian Press Council. All the members of the Indonesian Press Council, please kindly come up on stage. Let's wait. Okay, distinguished gentlemen, we are going to ask you to do the same thing as the dancers. That is a big lie. We are going to count to 3. Everybody on stage, all the members of the Press Council, everybody on stage, let's witness the closing ceremony of World Press Freedom Day 2017. On the count of 3. We also invite all the constituents to kindly come up on stage. Wait for one moment, all the constituents, please kindly come up on stage. If perhaps, Your Excellency, you can do whatever you can do with the striking of the beduk, it's okay. On the count of 3, are we ready? 1. No, not ready yet. Okay. Ready? On the count of 3. 1. 1.5. 2. 3. A round of applause. The World Press Freedom Day 2017 is officially closed. Now we would like to make a photo session together. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Press Freedom Day 2017 has come to a close. We would now like to make a photo opportunity for a while. On behalf of the government of Indonesia and on behalf of the Indonesian Press Council, Mr. Rudi Antara, thank you for your kind attention and attendance, and our heartfelt appreciation to all journalists and members of the media who have contributed to the success of this event. May we all reap fruitful benefits from the exchange of ideas and also information. Continue to be brave, bold, and precise in our line of work and in providing information to the public. Happy World Press Freedom Day. Until we meet again next year at the World Press Freedom 2018. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We have refreshment at the Assembly Hall 3 we invite everyone for dinner, which starts at 6 p.m. Again, we have refreshment at Assembly Hall 3. We also invite everyone for dinner at Assembly Hall 3, which starts at 6 p.m. Thank you once again. Until we meet again next year. We have refreshment at Assembly Hall 3. And then at 6 p.m., we will start with dinner. Everybody is invited to enjoy the dinner. To all our foreign guests, thank you very much and have a safe journey back home to your own respective countries. We ask all the organizers from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, from the Ministry of Education and Culture, from the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, and also from the Press Council to stay for a while for a session of photo